joining us today in this new remote edition in which we'll be speaking about the tech in Latin America, growth opportunities, looking at data that shows a promising future for 2023 in tech, and how to make the most out of it. Also, remember, YouTube watchers, that if you want to comment or if you have any doubts, you have to subscribe to talk with us. And also, LinkedIn, you can comment anything you want. And any doubts you have, we will be discussing it during the talk, and we'll be happy to answer them throughout this whole hour. So also, we want to know where you come from. Comment your flags in the comment section. And joining us today is Lucia Pistola and Majo Cache. Lucia is a former head of Twitter of Net Mexico, and Majo is talent acquisition specialist at TECLA. So Majo, if you want to introduce yourself, tell us about your experience, your role at TECLA.
Sure. Thanks, Euge. Hi, girls. I'm actually very excited to be here. I'm a huge fan of this remote room, so I'm happy to be here. As you said, I'm a talent acquisition specialist here at TECLA. So my job consists basically on making TECLA's network of candidates grow. We work with candidates only in Latin America, and we help them get hired by US companies. So a big part of my job is to be in constant communication with them, making sure that they have a good candidate experience overall. And I feel like definitely what's going to happen next year, it's a big question for them, for all the candidates and people working in tech. So it's good to be here chatting about it.
Thank you very much. Lucia, if you want to introduce yourself, your work experience.
Sure. Thank you, and thanks for the invitation of joining this chat. I used to be the head of Twitter Next for Spanish-speaking LATAM. The main goal for that team was to think on big strategies which were right in the intersection between creativity, innovation, and technology for the brands in the region. My experience is more focused on technology, but for marketing and advertising. And being Twitter was an incredible experience. And I had a lot of opportunities to combine all these expertise with technology. So it was really great. Also, from my background from advertising agencies, I've always been curious and trying to get into different processes and projects that are related to technology, but also and always thinking with a creative mindset and also an innovation mindset. So I think what's coming for the region is super interesting, and thanks for inviting me to this chat.
Of course, we're very excited to have you here. And also we wanted to ask you, like, what difficulties did you face when you started working at a big tech and getting to know the industry?
Well, in my experience, I think that working for a tech company, which also is driven, of course, by technology, makes a big difference in the structure, in the whole organization, and how the digitization of the organization makes every process much more agile. And I think that's the big difference between companies that have already digitized their processes and companies that haven't. Because technology, companies can leverage on technology to make much more of what they are offering to the market and to get better profits in terms of what kind of products also they can offer. But in the marketing sector, in the marketing area, I think the digitization and the technology that is really changing the industry. At the center of it, as I'm a former creative director also, I always think first with from creativity. So I think technology has a lot to offer um, for creativity also. So the big difference I found between advertising agencies and working in a tech company was processes.
Mm.
Everything is easier, and it is a bit like you have to go and find it yourself, but it also makes you easier the whole process. So you are in a better interconnected environment, so you can reach the resources you need for different problems, and that's what a tech company like Twitter makes it global, right? A global company, it doesn't mean that they have offices everywhere. I mean, yes, part of it, but I think the most important thing is how you connect the people to get better solutions for, in this case, brands. But in any case, in any industry, um, the technology is helping everyone being connected, and we've already been there after the pandemic or during the pandemic, right? So yeah, I think that would be the biggest difference between the advertising agencies and working in a tech company.
And during those processes, what advice do you have for someone who wants to give their first step into big tech, and how to navigate the difficulties that it means, like adjusting and adapting to the processes that you just told us?
Well, yeah, I think when you start working for a tech company, you have to change a bit your mindset, and you
Mm.
have to become flexible and be more open to different opportunities and to different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
Um, I think you have to speed up a little bit because technology is always changing.
Yeah.
But I think it's not a bad thing. Technology is here to help us do everything we do, but better.
Mm.
Um, so I think you have to keep an open mind in terms of learning. You have to um, find a way to train yourself to find the resources to understand better the place you are working for, and to find what your the best thing you do and what makes you unique, how you
Mm.
can use it, and how can you offer it to the company. um, and it doesn't matter if it is a tech company, but it applies to everything, to every company, to every job.
Mm.
When you have something to offer, and when you are true to your essence in terms of what you have achieved, I think that's what remains, and you have to be close to it, but with an open mind of learning.
Totally. Yes. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. If you have any doubts for Lucia or for Majo, please comment it, and we will be sparing any doubts. And to start off with the theme for the day, we thought it would be important to give you a context of how the global industry will be for next year. And it's safe to say that the industry has been rocky and it has been unstable, but the outlook for next year is still very favorable. 2023 matched like what would say like pre-pandemic healthy levels, especially that is very noticeable in a time of uncertainty like it's now. And while it remains challenging to predict how technology will play out, it's important to remind ourselves that technology is still a catalyst for change in the world, and technology advances businesses, governments, social sectors. They give more opportunities, as we can see here in this graph. You can see like even if the industry has a sheer size, it makes one of the most dominant sectors in the global economy. I think the rapid growth and the rate of change within the industry makes it a central player in developing businesses. There's a study done by McKinsey that it says that activity maybe has declined this year, but just very little. and that will be growing in 2023. So that's really great. And like we mentioned before, it's obvious like it has been a rock year. Organization today are working on tense conditions, and they're trying to grapple with rising costs and with economic uncertainty, geopolitical turmoil. We have a lot of things that organizations are working with, and saying this will happen in 2023. It's kind of difficult, but from data and from research and from everything, as we said, it's a promisable future. So I wanted to ask Majo, what do you think from your position as a talent acquisition specialist? What have you seen from clients' predisposition on looking for new talent for next year?
So that's actually a great question. And about what you were saying before, it definitely is like a concern of everyone working in tech. Everyone wants to know what's going to happen. And right now, it seems like the keywords are crisis, recession, uncertainty. So there's a lot of things going on right now. But definitely, companies in the US are still looking to hire people in Latin America. So if you are a professional working in that field, I would say keep doing your thing, keep preparing, keep studying, and getting better. There's always something to learn in this industry. But there's definitely gonna be companies that still want to hire people in Latin America because there are so like a lot of benefits to it. And what I'm seeing recently, and probably it's gonna keep happening in the next year, is that they are looking to have more diverse teams. So Latin American people really bring that to the table. There are different cultures, different countries, different perspectives, and I think they just kind of realize that diversity is not only something that looks good, like to market your company or to build your brand as a company, but also it really adds value to a team having different point of views. So there are tons of qualified candidates in Latin America, and this kind of work that we do here at TECLA, connecting them with these companies, is great. I feel like it's good because both parties win at the end, right?
Yeah.
The candidates getting a better opportunity, and the companies having access to those high quality professionals. That's something that I have seen. Of course, companies are still very exigent about the candidates they want, the profiles they want. So that's why I put emphasis on the side of being prepared, and also what Lucia was mentioning earlier, if you are true to who you are, if you know your strengths, that's also a big plus when you are trying to get an international opportunity.
Totally. Yes. And so what do you think that if you could give advice to new talent, what should they focus on learning for 2023? Like if you could say one thing.
I'm very bad at just picking one thing, so
It's
I
okay.
will have
As
to
much
go
as
with one more. But definitely, if you are, I don't know, a software engineer, you want to be updated on the latest technologies,
yeah.
taking a lot of courses. There's a lot of resources on the internet that you can use to be updated, and that's key in if you work in tech. You want to have like, you are competing with a lot of people, not only from your country now, but from all of over the world. So
Yeah.
you need to be prepared. And also, I always mention this. I think everyone knows it, but it's important to work in your personal brand. And again, Lucia, I think your background can help us a lot on this, because not only companies have to work on their branding, but also us as
Mm.
professionals, we sell ourselves. So if you are technically prepared and you work on your soft skills, you
Yeah.
have more chances of succeeding in any hiring process. So
Totally. And as you said with and as you said with globalization, like competition, as you per se, like you can say, it's all over the world. It's just so working on those aspects and how Lucia was saying, like working on your strengths and really trying to improve those can really give you a head start for having a great career for next year and just in general for your professional development. And like Lucia was telling, like how, from your position, how could you think that LATAM will be affected from this positive growth in the tech industry, as we've seen? Like, if the economy in tech is still growing, how will it affect talent?
I think it's, as you've mentioned, I think it's positive. I think universities have to be prepared and have to prepare better professionals that have the abilities and the capabilities to join the tech world. Um, right now, I think this is going to push, and I think it's been pushing the last couple of years after the pandemic and the tech acceleration growth um, for different countries underdeveloped in that terms. Um, have been all the globalization have been pushing our countries to keep up to help new students or new employees um, to be better prepared for this, and I think this is really important. Um, so I think it's going to bring a lot of growth in the whole region in terms of education. It should. I think also for the whole market and for those companies, tech companies in LATAM, is going to open bigger opportunities right now to join. We already have some really good examples of incredible startups that are doing incredible things like now ports, new ports, new ports here in Mexico, Kavak, Justo, which is a supermarket delivery app, and different businesses. I think it is the right moment to be there, and also for who is thinking on um, trying a new company, those entrepreneurs who are trying to do it. I think this is a good moment to do it, even though, as Majo mentioned before, the keywords are crisis and uncertainty. I think it's the best time to try to do new things. And if you want to have a chance and if you want to be part of it, you have to train yourself and you have to study and you have to work really hard to get there, because also, as you have mentioned too, there's a lot of competition. But I think LATAM has you know what, we are really experts in using and really resourceful,
Yeah,
finding resources where anybody would think or nobody would think there are. So as Latin Americans, we really have that different vision, and we really have the ability to find resources and to solve different problems. So I think also for a global market and from more developed tech developed countries, um, the Latin Americans' profiles are really interesting, and because we are used to solving things, with
right.
little resources, but in a very creative way and in a very innovative way. And we Latin Americans even don't believe that, we don't realize that we have that power, that we have that knowledge, and we have that capability or that ability to really solve and find solutions where nobody else find them. And this is something from my experience. I just lived that. Um, on Monday, Elon Musk published a tweet about the kind of advertising that we should be doing. And this was a campaign we launched from Latin America for HBO Max. And it was like what everybody is expecting on the next step in the next in Twitter 2.0. And I think that's because the team behind it was so resourceful that, and also we had such a different perspective of how things work that that help us find out an incredible idea which is super successful for the brand we work for. So in summary, I would say Latin Americans, we should trust the natural creative mindset we already have, because we have to be resourceful, and global markets and different companies from outside LATAM can leverage on that. So, yeah.
I
And I
love
think
that.
that, yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that Lucia mentioned something that is super important and just real. I think that sometimes we Latin Americans can underestimate our own capabilities, right? But it's true. If you want to hire someone that can do more with less, that's someone from Latin America probably. So even though we have these crazy things going on right now, a lot of things that we cannot control, I would say that it's not the first time that we go at something like this. We had like the pandemic a couple of years ago, and today I just heard about the fourth wave of COVID. I don't know if it's still a thing, but there's a lot of things that are going to still happening. So Lucia just mentioned something that we have to remember, that we are capable of bringing that extra point of view that any company really would like to have on their team. And we have to trust ourselves, right? Because here in Latin America, the entrepreneurs, I mean, they are huge, and they are basically the masters of solving problems and taking a bad situation and making it like a product or profitable, something like that. So that is great to remember. I like that.
Yeah, and something that we've seen, like Latin America, how Lucia said, emerged as a very important and exciting tech market. And I think that companies have seen that with the startups and the funding that has been in the industry, and that leads us to the other part of our event, that it's to talk about Latin American culture and what we have learned from research. LATAM has a very favorable 2023. Therefore, how you said it, like it's just, essential to keep up with global tech trends, like Majo was saying, and how we were talking about how competitive it is, and to really understand what companies are looking for and how to develop professionally. And to learn that, we invite you to subscribe to TECLA and to our newsletter to learn weekly about things that you can learn internationally and to learn more about the industry. And yes, the good news about everything that we've been talking about, how Marco said, even though crisis seems like the key word for this last couple of months, the global hiring keeps on rising, and there is a high demand for talent, and there is a shortage of available candidates. This study done by KPMG Global Tech Report shows that the number one challenge for companies is talent shortages, but it is an excellent opportunity for LATAM. Like, since companies are looking for talent outside their borders and they're trying to find quality talent, LATAM has been one of the fastest growing places on the region companies seek out for, and for hiring abroad, mainly because of what we're talking about, those skills that we have that maybe sometimes we don't even realize we have. They're very important for companies outside, that they're looking for in their talent, and also how Marco said, to diversify their teams, and how Lucia was saying, on it brings different perspectives, and that can make a company grow so much. So companies are really seeing that, and they're identifying the talent that we have here in LATAM, and remote work has been a great catalyst for this. And here is some of the statistics that we have on countries getting hired. And as we've been speaking, Latin America has the highest in hiring, in companies hiring abroad. It leads the way in talent abroad and has topped the list. So what we have here is Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, and a lot of countries are being predominantly chosen for technical roles. So Lucia, in Twitter, have you seen like a diversity in your teams, or how was it like?
Yeah, I was part of the Twitter Open VRG,
Yeah.
and our mission was to create a more inclusive and diverse weather, let's say organizational weather inside the company, and to build and to strengthen the communities inside Twitter. I think that was a great value from Twitter. It was
Yeah.
a company that, or it is still, I'm not sure, but it that really believed in diversity and inclusion. And me personally, I am super committed to diversity and inclusion. I think it's the most important thing we have to do inside an organization, and it's not something we just have to expect from an organization. We have to take part in it.
Totally.
So we have, as a manager, uh, it was my responsibility to build diverse teams and to build connections between different teams, um, and to help develop those skills that you were talking about before in
Mm,
diverse teams, right? Because
totally.
sometimes underrepresented communities are we have this mindset, and I speak for myself because I'm part of the LGBT plus community,
Mm,
and sometimes we have different mind winds,
yeah.
which make us doubt from ourselves as being part of an underrepresented community. We are used to be the underdogs a bit and to be unseen, so um, we don't feel like enough confident to speak out, to talk, and to bring ideas to the table. So, as a woman, as part of the LGBT community plus, we have to stand up and we have to say what we think, and we have to bring those skills to the table. So it is part of the companies, and it is their responsibility and their commitment, but it is also part of the managers to
Totally.
hire and to build diverse teams, and to really leverage on the opportunity of having different perspectives, which Maho was mentioning before. So yeah.
Yeah. How a LinkedIn user said here, Laura Maria Jose Calle said, building a diverse team with different backgrounds and perspectives is key. Companies that take too long to realize this are missing out. So, yeah, so I think this topic is very important to keep in mind, and especially if new talent is doubting themselves or their qualities or everything, just know that also LATAM has LATAM talent in general has amazing qualities that companies are looking for, and how Lucia was saying, it's really important to diversify teams and to integrate everyone.
Yeah.
Um,
Can I
there are
also add something there? I think it's really cool what Lucia just said. And another thing that I think I forgot to mention is that we have now companies that are actually looking to hire women. Like they just said like we need like this role. If you can send some women to apply there, we will love to interview them and to hire one. So of course we are three women chatting about tech right now, which is great. I love it. But um, it's super known that this industry is mainly managed by men, so it's good to have representation as well from all communities, from females, people from other countries, from other cultures. And it can like be a challenge sometimes to build the communication in the team with different perspectives, but it's definitely something that has a lot of benefits. So it's great in a lot of companies, just as Twitter, just as Lucia said, do that. So that's pretty great and encouraging. So yes, it's good.
Totally. We actually had a few weeks ago an event here about women in tech. If you want to see any events that we've done in the past, you can go to LinkedIn and scroll down and you can see it. It was a great talk. And here we have some statistics that I wanted to talk with you about that we've been touching upon. But here it says like the top 3 most popular roles in LATAM are software engineer, developer, graphic design, and product management. Also, the top 3 countries by number of workers being hired is Argentina, Brazil, Mexico. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity here. The top 3 fastest growing countries by number of workers being hired is Puerto Rico, Trinidad and Tobago, and Peru. So hopefully, as we said, like as we said, there's been incredible growth in Latin America, and hopefully it will keep on growing. And it shows like it will do so. Given this and what we see in 2023, there will be a lot of opportunities for candidates. And I wanted to like talk about like the reasons why tech hiring has grown more in than any other region worldwide. Like we've been talking about how we solve problems, how we work, how we give new perspectives and everything. But do you think there are other key elements that make us stand out from other talents in the world?
Yes. Well, I think hiring remote is been a thing even before the pandemic. But when the pandemic happened, this just boosted everything, and companies just realized that they could have access to people from all over the world, you know, and why they decided to choose LATAM over other continents. So it's because we have a lot of benefits to that. For instance, similar time zones, so it's easier for the teams to work at the same time or with a similar time, and communication it's better. You can have a more fluid work when your team is working with a similar time zone. Additionally, there are a lot of qualified candidates, as I just said. So they just realized that they could hire someone just as talented and a great professional from Brazil, Peru, Bolivia, Ecuador, you name it. And of course, there is a factor about cost saving for the company. So it's good. There are a lot of benefits, and right now there are a lot of methods to contract people all around the world, and that I think it's the main thing to it. And I don't see that this is going to change. I mean, there are some companies that are trying to make hybrid work, but honestly, from my point of view as a talent acquisition, most of the candidates, they are just like, I need to work from home. I'm a digital nomad. I want to travel. I want to have my own schedule, and that's fair. I mean, that's how the market is right now. I'm not saying remote work is for everyone, because there are some people that like to go to the office, and that's amazing for them. It works for them. But yes, that's how I think about it and what I'm seeing right now.
Actually, it's said to say that in 2023, Latin America will have the biggest number of digital nomads in the world. So it's definitely something
I
that
want to be a digital nomad. Like, I want to. I'm trying to work on a way to become one, but we'll see.
And from that, like, what do you think that candidate, like talent, should be focusing on when looking for a new job? Like, we've been talking more about the side of companies for talent, but what do you think is from a viewpoint of a candidate to actually focus on when looking for a new job in a company? Like if there is anything that they should focus on about the company or anything like that.
Sorry, was that a question for me or for Maho? I think.
For
There was
my
Okay, sorry.
I just was
I just,
daydreaming about becoming a digital nomad, and I I kind of. But can you please repeat the question because I want to give you like a proper answer.
totally. No, if we've been talking more about like the side of what talent has to have, or what to more of like companies looking for talent in Latin America. But as a candidate, what do you think? And as a talent acquisition strategist, do you know like how what are the things they should focus on a company when they're looking for a new job?
So, from the perspective of the candidate, which is something that I am really interested about because I work mainly on the candidate side, I think they are really looking to work for something that is aligned with their purpose, right?
Mm.
Uh, a company that makes them feel valued, that of course gives them a good salary, good benefits. And nowadays it's good to see that a lot of companies are really working on this,
Mm.
because it's right now, as you mentioned, there is a high demand of software engineers, product designers, QA testers, I don't know, but there are less candidates. So a lot of people is already employed, working with a great company, receiving a good salary. So for us as talent acquisition people, it is a challenge to convince someone that the opportunity that we have adds value to them. And that's actually what how we're trying to approach people. This opportunity has a lot of benefits for you, so why don't you give it a try, right? Because they are already working for a company and they are probably happy there, but I would say even when they are interested in benefits, compensation, they are also trying to work in something that it's meaningful, or at least gives them like a professional fulfillment, and that makes them feel like they are growing in their career. So if you want to land an opportunity like that, definitely, if you have the right mindset, you will do it. You will eventually have that type of opportunity, but you have to be prepared for it. And when you are there, even before you are actually hired by the company, when you are in the interview rounds, that's the moment for you to show how can you actually add value to the company, what can you bring to the table. I don't know if you're a good communicator, if you have a lot of expertise in one specific field. So definitely that's why I mentioned to be prepared. And yes, we already talked about what we as Latin Americans bring to the table. It's a lot. We are
Yeah.
great. We're amazing. So if you are young and you have all these willing to learn, that's something that adds a lot. Versus, for instance, when I interview someone that is very senior and has like this amazing resume, but they don't really show excitement or at least interest in the position. That's a big difference. So if you are young or maybe mid-level or maybe just trying to land a leadership position, remember that first of all, you have a lot of things that are actually very high value. Remember that to yourself and try to express that to the company.
Totally.
And yes, I hope that that helps.
No, totally, yes. And Lucia, you are a leader of many teams, and how do you what do you like value most about the people in your team can give to to the team and everything? Like, what is the leadership tips that you have for candidates to have? Since we've been talking, like soft skills will be very important for next year, and leadership and creativity and communication, it's going to be really important. So, as a leader, what is your perspective on it?
I would say communication is the very first skill you have to work on. Since we are in a remote world or in a hybrid world, um, the better communication skills you have, the better chances you have to thrive.
Mm.
And this is because you can have a lot of knowledge and a lot of technical skills, but if you don't have the proper, or if you don't find the proper way to communicate them and to connect with people, it's going to be, in the shadows. So you have to find and to work on your communication skills. um, as a leader, I would say I really appreciate the diverse points of view. I really appreciate people who has the courage to bring ideas to the table and has a big resilience. And this has to do a lot with the moment we're living now, in the middle of crisis, recession, uncertainty, maybe. Resilience is a very important skill to develop. And this has a lot to do with emotional intelligence. The better leaders right now are not considered to be the ones who have the biggest or the best um, technical skills, but the ones who have a better emotional intelligence and find better ways to handle with different situations and with to manage people also. So for you to have the chance to manage people, you have to learn and to know yourself a lot. So um, I would say that's an important skill too. The other one, of course, is commitment. It doesn't matter if you are a nomad, a digital nomad. If you are committed to your job and if you are committed to the company's purpose, then you can give your best in your job. Also, as a leader, you have to understand, as Majo was mentioning before, not everyone has the same rhythm to work. Not everyone has the same schedules. So, as a leader, you have to be flexible and you have to find the best the different people from the team has to offer. So you have to find a way to mix those skills and to take the best out of them. And the other thing I would say, and this is something that has worked for me all my life and all my professional life, is keep being curious. Because once you stop being curious and you don't find the motivation to learn, then you're going to stay stuck in some place, and that's something that you don't want to. You want to evolve, and in this constant changing world, you have to be flexible and you have to have this ability to adapt. I think that's super important, and it also has to do with resilience. Um, and yeah, I would say that if you have already developed some technical skills, what else can you add to that? And not only from your expertise field, but also from other fields. How can you even diversify your skills yeah, that would be in that sense. Diversity is in the core of everything. So if you can also diversify your skills, that would be incredible.
Totally. Yes, it's really important for maybe what we have been also talking about, like how you can have every skill that you need for a job, but if you don't have core strengths, like we've been talking about, sometimes you can't put them into play at work. So it's really important to do also personal work and especially since what we've been talking about, like Latin America will it's still and it is a hotspot for companies to hire people from here. So it's important to have these aspects on top of the list so you can find your dream job and everything. As we said before in the newsletter, we always talk about this and we give a lot of tips. So remember to register. It's in a pinned comment. And I want to bring back on something that we've been talking about, that it's how did Latin America emerged as a very exciting tech market, and the startups that is constantly breaking investment records, and that has been a great part of the jump hires in Latin America, since startups have received like 15 billion in funds and everything. And that really shows the qualities that we have, the skills that we have, and companies have been seeing that. How Lucia mentioned with Kavak, well, also Rappi. Novum Shop, like all those companies really show that we have a strong startup uh,
So, yeah.
market, a very good tech. The tech ecosystem is really good in Latin America, and is considered one of the fastest growing technology markets in the world. So I wanted to ask Lucia, someone who worked at a big tech, what do you think of the industry during these boom years in founding Latino companies like you've mentioned Kavak and Rappi and Open Shop, like with your peers, or like how is your take on that as a someone who worked at big tech?
Well, I think it all comes back to who we are as Latin Americans, and I think that the startups that are thriving is because they are understanding very well the market and the people, the audiences, um, like which are the pain points we Latin Americans live every day, like for example, Rappi.
Mm,
Um, in a lot of countries in Latin America struggle with the traffic, yeah, with the traffic, right? So um, building up on that pain point, how do you develop a service that can help you get your things faster, for example? So that's something that has to do with Rappi, for example. Another one is, in Latin America, it is super common to buy used cars, right? So how do you create a solution to have a better service and to be more agile in terms of these kind of transactions between the people who wants to sell their cars, but also the ones who want to buy it. So
mm,
I think the whole thing is, as Latin Americans, we don't really need to go outside and to look to into other global markets or into other markets beyond the borders. We
mm,
had a lot of things inside our countries that needs a different solution and a more innovative and creative solution. So I think technology is just like a tool, and it sounds very simple. Of course, it's not, but it's just like a tool to give solution to those ideas and to those needs. So I would think that everything comes back to whatever people needs, whatever people need a solution for. There's an opportunity to create a startup, to build something upon it, and I think that's like the very main principle of innovation. Understand the people, which are their pain points, and to start iterating on that and to create products that makes people's lives easier, or
so,
companies' lives easier, right? Thinking in Newport, for example, which is a B2B startup,
mm,
and which really thrived during this super chaotic moment where logistics turned completely around. It was just like a mess with all the pandemic, and then Newports had a really incredible uh, way of seeing things and solving the logistics problem. So yeah, I think that would be what I think.
totally. And like we said, we as Latin Americans have a very strong quality of finding solution to problems very fast. And I think that what you just told really showcases that, and that we don't, how you said, we don't have to look at other countries or like globally in general. Like we have really good resources here that we can exploit, and also the qualities that we have are really important. So thank you very much for that. And now we're going to like the final conclusions. And I wanted to ask you both and talk about like what would be like your final advice, both Majo and Lucia, and for people who want to pursue a career in tech in 2023, like how to not like this year has been filled with uncertainties. How could you navigate that if next year happens again, or if it has a turbulent first quarter? Like how can you navigate that? What would be your advice from both?
So my advice for the people that want to work or keep working in the tech industry is to just go for it. Literally, like, I know that it's easy to go to LinkedIn, Instagram, the news, and see all of these negative things happening, and that makes us feel, of course, no one likes to know this and feel like we have no control over it, but that's just how it is. There's a lot of things that we can not control directly. So my recommendation here is to be prepared for that. Like, hope for the best, but at the same time be prepared for all of the things that can possibly happen. And as a professional, if you are a good professional and you get prepared for it, you will have more chances to work for a great company, have all of the benefits that come to it, and just change your mindset, right? Because as Lucia said, times of crisis are great for you to think about how can we solve a problem for all other people and for yourself. So I like to think this way: like, if you don't get an offer for the job that you are looking for, just remember that you are not just like limited by a certain number of opportunities. You have the whole world right now, nowadays, to apply
Totally,
for opportunities remotely. So don't think or don't feel like you're lacking, because if you feel like that, you're probably not gonna find opportunities. Just take like this time to be more prepared. Try to understand what you really like, what you really enjoy doing, so you can focus on that. And speaking as a talent acquisition, I always think that a good idea is to just have a profile that you really like. Like, I want to become a UX designer, product designer, I don't know, and I try to see if I have a someone that I can look up to,
yeah.
or just a job description that I really want to be that person. That's what I'm trying to be. That's what I would love to work. So try to become that person and be prepared when the opportunity comes to you. And also, don't wait for the opportunity to come to you. It's a balance, right?
Totally.
But go
It's
to
going
TECLA.
for it. Yeah,
My final advice is to just go to TECLA and apply for job opportunities. That's it.
totally. And yeah, so something that when I was looking for a job is what I reminded myself was you can have a million no's, but you just need that one yes.
Yeah.
And just like keep on trying and keep on trying. And like, there was definitely a point where I just wanted to, you know, well, here's someone that said, what a nice piece of advice, Majo.
Oh, I love that. It was nice, right? But it was very genuine. I really feel like that.
No, totally. Like, keep on trying, totally. And the market seems very favorable for next year. So work on your skills, work on everything. And Lucia, do you have any final tips for our viewers?
Yeah, well, I would say trust in their own skills and believe we as Latin Americans have a lot to offer to different companies. Don't let I think borders are getting erased, and I think remote work has helped a lot for that. And so there's a big chance, and you have a big opportunity to be there and to be part of these big companies or tech companies, and stop thinking in a limited way, right? It's just like see yourself, as Maho was saying, build yourself, build your capabilities to be there, to your skills to get the position you are looking for, and trust yourself. And as a woman, I would say we have to work double, right? That's a fact. That's the world we're still living in. Let's hope things keep changing, because I think there's been developing more opportunities for women, but we still have to work a lot. And I would say, as a manager or as the person who has to hire people, look at women, and become an ally for not only women but also for all the diversity there's out there. Transgender people are the most affected, and also other people with different capabilities. Just take a look at them. It's just they can do the job. They can do it, and they can bring a really good different perspective to the table. Everybody needs it, and we need to stay open in that way. So yeah, I would say trust what you have to bring to the table. Uh, Communicate it the best way you can in a good resume, and don't stop trying. As Majo said, you have to go for it, right? Don't wait until it
Totally.
comes to you, because it's not going to happen. You have to go out, look for it. And
Totally.
we Latin Americans are really used to it, and we are hard workers. So um, it shouldn't be a trouble for us. So yeah.
Totally. Thank you very much for shining perspective on that, because it's really important. And how you guys been saying, like, it's very important to keep on trying and persisting. And thank you very much for both of you for being here today and for talking with us. It has been incredible, and I hope our viewers also enjoyed it. If you have any final questions, this is the time. But except from that, well, I wanted to thank you very much, and thank you everyone who was engaged during this remote room. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to on LinkedIn also, our social media, and register at TECLA. Thank you so much to everyone, and we will see you on the next event next week.
Thank you so much.